morning, Megan.
Good morning. Cheers.
Yes. Here we are doing
Ah,
morning buzz.
which I'm excited about. We had um, I think everybody at the beginning of the year, what we've been hearing across the boards, particularly in HVAC, so we'll address that today,
Yeah,
is that things aren't going great. And one
correct.
of the things that might be affecting you right now is you were ranking really well in LSAs, Google LSAs, and um, now you're not. And so if we know that's the first place people show up um, in mobile and desktop, you could be feeling like, what the heck happened? So Nancy and I wanted to dive into some ways that you could check to see, um, are you affected by maybe something you did internally or your digital marketing company may not be paying attention to. So you want to add any flavor to that, Nance?
Well, you know, I'm getting the calls, right, from my CMO clients and they're panicked. They are
Yeah,
hitting the red panic button and I know we talk about we can't be reactive, right? I mean, we get these calls all the time. It's kind of part of the job and we try to remain calm and try to calm the waters a little bit and try to get them to understand the situation instead of just throwing $10,000 at a situation to try to fix it immediately. So,
right.
making sure that things are set up properly, making sure that processes and procedures are set up properly, so that way, hopefully, you don't get to that point. And so yesterday, I threw up the red flag to Megan, and I asked her to help me because the behind the curtain LSA, pay per click, SEO, that stuff is definitely Megan's expertise. It is not mine. So anyway, she and the first thing we said this morning when we chatted about our morning buzz, we're like, okay, we've got to talk about this because we know that we're not the only ones that are hearing this. So here we
Yeah.
are.
And then, one of my clients right now is doing really well. So a couple things. So one thing that happened before, at the end of last year, which many of you are aware about, but Google LSA combined, like they merged the reviews with Google Business Profile. Okay. And so in order for that to happen and go smoothly, Google need to see a match that the same admin or owner of LSA was the same owner of GBP. So that could be a red flag if someone is not ranking, like, did that happen? Did yours merge? Is there an issue? So that's something, if you need some help there, you can reach out to us or your agency, or, go and check that, because that could be affecting. Um, Two is, make sure, I always go in and look at the Google guarantee part and make sure, like, your insurance is up to date, your license is up to date, and you can see, like, there'll be little check marks on all of this saying, like, all of this is okay and functioning well, because that will absolutely affect how you show up. So make sure, like, you have your latest proof of insurance, license, all of that uploaded to LSAs. And this is, if you guys just do on the Google site, there's a local service ads answering questions. There's a ton of stuff on here from Google that's actually always really good, and they always update if something's going on. So there's even like an improve your local service ads performance. So that those are the two first, like, low hanging fruit I'd look at. Um, Obviously, if you're a Google guarantee, you're going to show up better. So yes, bidding is a huge part of this. You know, it's a live auction. So what is your bid per week versus what are you willing to spend per week? And if your competitors are outranking you, even though Google does, like, rotate these, um, you have to have enough bid to show up. So it doesn't mean you're going to show up every time if you have the highest bid, because Google's going to rotate these, but you have a better chance when you have a higher bid. Um, so those are some things I can't emphasize. Google's not going to say this, but a lot of people that I've talked to and the studies show when you look at the amount of reviews you've received in the last 90 days, okay, compared to your competitors. So Google's actually looking at the number of reviews. And yes, quality of reviews matter. You responding to those reviews matter, but like the number of reviews compared to your competitors. One of the agencies I work with, they give me a report every month on how I'm ranking compared to my competitors. And it is a direct reflection on my results. Um, Another thing you're not going to see in Google is I have locations close by. I have two locations, GBP. They're like 45 miles away from each other. And they were actually competing with each other. So I ended up combining them into the main location, the one with all the reviews, and it helped a lot. I'm actually ranking a lot better just operating out of one LSA. I
Can you,
still have two
you,
GBPs.
okay, that's what I was going to just ask. You still
And
have,
I recommend that, like my GBPs, because that's purely location, right? Um, well, not purely, but one of the big ranking factors is location. So I actually, and I was advised by this by multiple agencies, like one operate with that one LSA because you're diluting if they're a close proximity to each other, the locations. And it's been performing great in both markets since I've done that. So, um, and I think one thing to pay attention to is like one location had a ton of reviews compared to the other one because I was just starting out. And so Google and the volume of reviews I was getting on that one location is much higher. So, which is a ranking factor with LSA. Another thing to check is, and Nancy's diving into this with one of her clients right now, is your responsive rate. So, you can talk to the owner and the CSRs, and they're going to say, "Oh, our responsive rate is great." But here's the thing: there was a study I saw recently where someone, they actually had, they had a couple days where they missed calls on LSAs. Well, believe it or not, Google dinged that non-responsiveness because compared to their competitors, that non-responsiveness over that short period of time took them down. So sometimes what we can see is it can take almost 90 days to recover from something like that. I know it's not something you want to hear, but what you can start today when you hear this message is making sure that you guys are interacting with um, all of those leads, answering them quickly. And that goes for having online booking turned on, which can be integrated with Service Titan, and also your messages turned on. So those are two factors, and it says it right in here that you should have those turned on.
and
Doesn't mean,
you said
yeah,
yesterday
go ahead.
too, you said yesterday also, if you get a message in message form, you should reply in message form instead of calling them, even though calling may be easier.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to respond in because that's what Google's looking at, right? Like that's what Google's looking at as your response rate. If you don't respond to that message, they're just thinking like, oh, they didn't respond to this lead.
Right.
So high quality images is one. So I'm always adding images to my LSA account. And then, that the services that you offer, make sure they're the services you offer. This is not mentioned in Google, but I've done a lot of testing and research on this, is your service area. So I was operating where I was like putting in every city. And actually you want to if you cover a county, like a full county, put the county in, like, because that's a bigger area. If you target zip codes, then put those in. Thirdly, put the cities. So what I mean is I would put in your county first if you cover a full county or counties. So what I'm saying is that broader area, Google tends to like more in your targeted. So kind of check to see that. And then I would also check your description. You have an opportunity to write a description in your LSAs, and what does that say? So is it talking about like your most desired keywords, things like that? This is, here's some just general tips: expand your job types and service areas. Um, Leads, maximize leads with bidding. We already talked about that. We talked about the photos. Um, so here's just some other things as well. But 9 times out of 10, when I haven't seen my Google business profile ranking well, it was my response rate, my reviews are not enough, meaning the number of reviews compared to my competitors. And then I wasn't bidding enough. So, and just because you fix these things, guys, and get on them, there's a delayed reaction many times. Like Google wants to see kind of this consistency to make you rank better. And once you've hit that ranking point where you're showing up 1, 2, 3 every time, don't, I want to use a word, but don't mess it up, right? Like don't keep those things very consistent.
Just so you
Because
know,
I
when you
hate
said
this.
mess it up, in my head, I heard the word that you
Yeah.
want to say. Yeah.
Yes, I did. And unfortunately, like with LSAs, that's where we get a lot of our new customers.
Yeah.
They're going to Google, they're going to the mobile device, they're searching, and those are the ones that show up first, right? Um, and they're really important, especially if you're a large company in these areas. Um, you feel it, when these aren't doing well, your business feels it big time. And I'm not saying it's the only way to get leads, but it's certainly like a
Ooh,
quick way to get leads.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, and don't keep searching yourself. This was something that came up yesterday. Go to isearchfrom.com and you can check to see how you're showing up. Don't keep searching yourself on Google. You go to this or go incognito on Chrome or do something like that to check. But the cool thing about Google LSAs is it shows you now there's a reporting. So it shows you what your impression share is, how often your ads are being shown. Um, and that's something to look at. I'm always looking at that compared to like where I was the month previous. What changes did I make? Did it increase? Did it decrease? Um, so look at that impression share, look at that reporting. I just threw a lot out, but
That was a
those are the
lot.
main things.
But I have thought of very little besides that conversation yesterday since we had that and kind of, pulled the cover back a little bit. And so what am I going to do today? I'm going to do some listening to some phone calls. And because I think that part of the issue may be the answering side of it. Now, let me ask you this question, Megan. Should you
Sure.
be running LSA ads on the weekends and after hours?
Well, that just depends on your call center. So I do.
Going to an after hours, if it's going to an after hours answering service that has the ability to book the call, would you run them on weekends and evenings?
If that quality is as good as when you're running it in-house during the week. If it's not worth it. Because if
Okay.
that third party company is making mistakes and not answering or missing calls, they're going to screw you. So,
Yeah.
um, I always try and match my hours in GBP as I do in LSA. So if you know if you have a really great call center that you trust and the results are there, yes. If people aren't answering the phone, no.
No, right. Because now you're getting dinged by someone that's not even
Cool.
an employee. I mean, they should be.
Yeah.
And this
Right.
company that we were chatting with yesterday, actually, um, because they should be experiencing a bunch of no heats right now and they're not getting them, they actually changed the structure for the next 2 weeks of their call center. So an actual live person is now covering the phones till 8 p.m. So that really important time after work when people get home and they realize their heat is out, they now are keeping those calls in-house and not sending them over because there isn't a lot of faith in the after hours. So,
Yeah,
so we're
it's
doing,
really important.
yeah, yeah, it really is.
And like also it's triage. Like some companies that I've spoken to know how important this is. And like when an LSA call, which it's labeled when it comes in, they know it's from LSA, comes in, it's triage to be answered, right? Like someone will take it over another call just because of how important it is to pick up the
Yeah.
phone. And I hate that we're all ruled kind of by this, but we are. So you either play in it or you don't.
And if you don't, you're gonna feel the impact hard.
Especially during the slow times, you're going to feel it. Or even the busy times because people are searching and you're not showing up,
Yeah,
right? And if
right.
you're showing up organically, awesome. Like that's a help. But let's face it, like a lot of people aren't scrolling down, you know? They're
No,
trying to find like something, they have no heat. They're going to call.
yeah.
They're not going to be like,
Start at
oh,
the top.
where's that
And the
company?
first person
Yeah.
that says, yes, I can be there is the person that's going to get that job.
Yeah. So this is a great time to go into your LSA if you guys need some help with us. Home Service Marketing Hub. I am happy to jump on a call with you and just kind of review some of this. Um, I don't think you need someone to manage. I'm probably going to get, you know, I don't think you need someone to manage this, but you need to be able to do it. And if you can't do it, then yes, you need somebody on this. But like you play such a significant role as the business that your agency has no control over. And that's how do you respond to the leads? You know, are you actively pursuing reviews? Those kind of things, your agency can't do anything about that except let you know. So if you're in purgatory with your LSA, this might be some of the reasons why. But you can get out, which
You can
is a
get out of
great thing.
purgatory. Okay, so this we had
Yeah.
our all day annual planning session for us yesterday, and one of the questions that came up because we can't ever stay on task. Someone said something about purgatory, and I laughed and I said, "That's where I'm going to be sitting on that little bench waiting to get in," and we all laughed. And Jackie in our group, we're going down a rabbit hole here, but anyways, she said she always thought that purgatory was the place that you go before you go to hell. And I said, I always was taught as a little girl in the Catholic Church that purgatory was the place that you went to wait to get to heaven. So, anyways, we had a whole conversation,
I thought hell for sure.
that's what Jackie thought too. But in fact, we did some research. It is heaven
No shit.
as taught by the Catholic Church. So, believe what
Well, hey, that's a much better thought.
I'm just going to sit on
So
that.
if you're in purgatory, then you're just waiting to get to heaven.
Yeah. I mean, I could have some nice conversations with the person on the bench next to me. Friendly.
Yeah. Kind of like glass half full versus glass half empty,
Yes,
right? Well,
exactly.
I like that, Nancy.
Hey,
Thanks.
well, Megan, thank you so much for your help yesterday. I am not kidding you. I talked to Mike on the phone last night, and I'm so in awe of your knowledge and your expertise. And I know you're very humble and you don't take compliments very well, but you truly took a very sick feeling crisis situation and you helped me through that. And I know that's why you're such a huge benefit to our people here in the hive. And I'm not kidding when
Oh, thanks, Nance.
she says reach out and she will get, like, she will, like, that's not
Yeah, any
yes,
LSA. I'm happy, and I don't have all the answers. Um, but I
but you
do
don't have
know
to do it
there's
alone. You know what I mean?
you
These people,
don't,
they don't
and
have to do
there's
it alone.
usually a reason. Like there really is. Like it's not like, oh, Google doesn't like me, or there's usually like a scientific data-driven reason. And sometimes it's really simple. Like I'll raise my hand. One time I paused my accounts for a holiday and I forgot to turn them back on. Like it was as simple as that, but I needed another set of eyes to like, because I had looked through it 3 times and I didn't see it. So that's so, I mean, I own it. Sometimes you just need another set of eyes to be like,
Yeah.
try this. I will say there's some awesome too YouTube videos on some people in home services that have just like have some really great tips to help you out there. But like I said, we're happy to help. So
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that was a great Q&A for the day. And
yeah,
I hope everyone has a wonderful day. I'm going to
yes,
stop recording and we'll see you all soon.
sounds good.
Buzz.
See ya.